everyone, this is Bruce from Identifying God's Best. Welcome to another episode of Guy Talks. So it's super exciting. We're starting off a new series on the topic of singleness, and for this episode specifically, I will be addressing and answering the question, why you may still be single. So this is quite a popular question asked by a lot of singles individuals. And I think to clear the deck really fast and get it out of the way, the fact that you're asking this question, why you may still be single, chances are you probably don't have the gift of singleness according to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Just the very fact that you're thinking about it and wanting to get married, I assume that there is that desire and that fire burning within you to have that companionship, to be one with another individual, to enjoy marriage, to have a family, and do what married couples do, and there's that genuine godly desire for it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But a lot of people oftentimes when they're single, they just tell them like, oh, maybe I have to give the singleness, when in their head, everything that's happening inside, left and right, is shouting like, I want to get married, I want to be in a relationship. Don't use the gift of singleness that's described by Paul in 1 Corinthians 7 as an excuse almost to not face reality, so to speak, and hide in a bubble and have that discontent attitude within the heart, but you don't really want to express it because you got to be thankful in the season of life. But let's just be honest and be sincere about it, that there's that genuine passion and burn within you to want to get married, and there's nothing wrong with it because God has designed and created most people on earth to be like that, right? To have the gift of singleness, it means you really are content in serving the Lord and serving the church, and the relationship is just not even in your mind, period. And if that is the case, in which there are people like that in this world, that's wonderful. And you probably, might not even be watching this channel if that is the case. So with that being said, why you may still be single, and there's that lingering question that pops up every once in a while that comes to mind whenever you see a couple being together, going out on dates, or a family playing together with their children, whatever it is, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I really want to be in a relationship. How come I am still single? Lord, can you please help me? Now, there could be several reasons as to why. I think it's difficult to pinpoint exactly each specific scenario. It's so vastly different. There are so many different reasons as to why the Lord is at this time choosing in His infinite wisdom to keep you as a single guy or single gal. But the simple answer to why you may still be single is simply because the Lord sees it best and He deems it best fit for you to be single at this time. And it's hard to say exactly why that is, once again, just because from situation to situation, person to person, it's so different. But I do want to encourage you to understand that the Lord works in mysterious ways. And the fact that you are still single at the moment, it's perfectly operated underneath the sovereignty and the wisdom and the love and the grace of God. So your singleness now is under the watchful eyes of God and His sovereignty. So it's not out of sight, out of mind for Him. And it's not that He doesn't pay close attention to you. No, He cares about you intimately and dearly if you truly are a child of God. So you are cared for perfectly. There is also the love and grace of God. God is not somehow removing His blessings from you just because He's not giving you a relationship that you want. It may be quite the opposite. The fact that you're not in a relationship could very well be the Lord is protecting you in ways that you would never imagine that you need protection from. Oftentimes the Lord works in mysterious ways in orchestrating events to not allow something to happen in order for you to be protected, for you to be loved and to be shown favor and blessings all the more because of you being away, for example, in a toxic relationship and making rash decisions in your relationship or whatever it is. So don't ever assume just because, I'm single, somehow I'm removed from the blessings of God and from the care of God and from the love of God. That is absolutely false. As we see in the scriptures very clearly that God loves and cares for you deeply. And the very fact that He still keeps you as a single individual now, that is a gift from God. Now, you might not have the gift of singleness. That does not mean that singleness is not a gift from the Lord. So my encouragement to you is take the time to really grow, keep growing. I think a lot of times I do want to say that oftentimes why you may still be single could be because of a maturity and a character factor. I just want to be very straightforward and blunt in that regard. A lot of people think that they should be dating when what they should be doing is in the Word, in prayer, and growing in the relationship with the Lord, growing in the service of the church, and not even consider dating for quite a couple months down the line, just because of the lack of maturity, or maybe they're new in the faith and they think to themselves like, oh, now that I'm saved, I'm ready to date. There's still so much to learn and so much to grow. And take the time that the fact that the Lord has given you this season of singleness to enjoy by yourself in your service to the Lord and in your growth in His Word, and really taking the time and build up your foundations and your discipline and your maturity. Take that opportunity and run full speed. Because with marriage and with family, there comes a whole host of responsibilities, new, joyful, fun responsibilities, that if you don't have the right foundation down in your own personal disciplines, it could be very, very difficult to manage, either as a leader of the family or being a helper within the family as a wife. So take the time to grow, and knowing that singleness is a gift from the Lord, take the time to serve. Take the time to serve the Lord wholeheartedly, serve the church, serve the people around you, serve the brothers and the sisters within the church, and don't hold back in your service to the Lord. If you're holding back now as a single, what makes you think that you're going to be excellent in serving the Lord and serving the church once you get married? It's only going to get more difficult. Again, that ties in with the character and the maturity aspect of it. Is sometimes we want to be in a relationship simply because of our own desire sake and for our own benefit, so that we can do things that we want to do, or whatever is romantic according to the world's perspective. But one of the many purposes of marriage is to enhance your effectiveness, enhance your service to the Lord and to His body and for His kingdom. And if you're not utilizing that time now in your singleness to advance the kingdom of God, then it's difficult, to convince me, and ultimately God knows best, that you are somehow going to be more godly, more mature, more effective when you're in a relationship and when you start dating and when you get married. I think something else is why you may still be single. For the younger group of audience that I'm speaking to, it may just be because you're not ready for it. You're still really young. I mean, I remember I have high schoolers coming in telling me like, I should be dating right now because I'm ready X, Y, and Z. Now, are there high schoolers that are mature enough to date? Sure. Is that going to be the norm? Probably not. And even for a lot of collegians who think like they know it all, and there's that prideful, arrogant attitude that they have, that aura of arrogance around them, chances are the Lord is keeping you safe. Again, see it as the providence and the grace of God to keep you away from dating so that you don't mess things up. I don't mean to be mean and to be rude or to be harsh, but it's just true that oftentimes so many people want to date at such a young age that they don't really understand the ramification of what they're getting into. Be in a relationship, a committed relationship with the opposite gender, and seeking towards marriage. There are so many different ways for you to keep growing and serving the Lord. Take the time to grow and wait patiently on the Lord. On the opposite end, you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not young anymore, Bruce. So what do I need to do? With that, regardless of wherever stage of life you are, how old you are, whatever your life circumstance is, may I just encourage you with this: whenever you struggle and battle with the question of why you may still be single, learn to be content. Learn to be content and trust in the Lord because of His perfect sovereignty, of His perfect wisdom, of His perfect love, of His perfect grace and care for you. And may I just leave you with this encouragement. Proverbs 3 verses 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will make your path straight. There are so many scenarios, questions, what ifs in our heads. It can be an endless spiraling down of our own emotions, of our own poor attitudes before the Lord. Learn to trust in your season of singleness. See it as a gift and see it as an advantage and a blessing for the Lord to use you to be of greater impact for His kingdom, both within the church and in the world, in the workplace, in your classes. And really learn the joy of contentment. That you can be, as Paul writes in Philippians chapter 4, you have learned to be content in every circumstances. Not just poor and rich, filled or hungry, but even in singleness or in relationship, that you can speak in agreement with Paul that you have learned to be content in every circumstance, because that's what matters the most in life. It's not whether or not you're single or married. It's whether or not you're effective for the Lord and making a mark, an impact for the advancement of His kingdom, because that's truly what we should all desire as believers, not whether or not we have a ring on our finger. So hopefully that helps as to why you may still be single. It's not as straightforward of an answer as I can give you, just because I don't know you personally, but I do know the God that we worship and that we follow and we serve. He is good, He's kind, He's loving, He's sovereign, and there is a perfectly good reason as to why you are still single, So therefore, trust him and acknowledge him in all your ways, and it will make your path straight. Be it he give you a dating relationship within the next month or so, or a couple years down the line. Serve him, trust him, know him, and love him. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Make sure to subscribe, comment below what you found to be encouraging, and more if you have any other questions related to this topic. Again, more videos will come out on this series of singleness. And make sure you share with family and friends. Have a good one, everyone.